What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. Now today, I may be finishing off the lore to the weapons and wargear of the Primarchs. We've got Logar, Vulcan, Corvus Corax, and Alfarius Omegon left, and I think I may be able to get through them in one video, but if not, it's okay. We'll just finish it off tomorrow. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into the lore behind Lorgar and his weaponry. So Lorgar Aurelian, aka the Urizen, is the Primarch of the Word Bearers, one of the original 20 Space Marine legions. He is fiercely religious, and he is prone to fanaticism, and Lorgar yearned for a greater meaning to his existence besides conquest. So this quest took him to the tragic events that befell him on Monarchia, which then later made him become seduced by the powers of chaos. He was hiding his allegiance for many years, and because of him, he helped orchestrate everything that occurred during the Horus Heresy. Since then, he has become a demon prince of chaos. So now that we know a little bit more about Lorgar, you guys can jump on over to our 40 facts on Lorgar Aurelian. I believe it is a 3-part series where we dive into the awesomeness of his lore. So now let's jump to his weaponry. So starting off, we have the Illuminarium, which is an ornate scepter power maul fashioned by Logar by his fellow Primarch, the master weaponsmith Ferrus Manus. It aided him in many battles, and it was a formidable weapon which was perfectly balanced in his hands, regardless of the size of this weapon. Now, the Illuminarium was seen as the pattern from which the chaplain's Crozius Arcanums were later based on, which is a little weird because then, it's like here's this gift of a power maul, and then all the chaplains base it on that, and then he becomes tainted by chaos. But anyway, Lorgar states when in conference with his first captain and first chaplain that the Illuminarium was more of a symbol of office than an actual weapon, but it was still pretty deadly nonetheless. Next up, we have his armor, the Armor of the Word. So the Armor of the Word is a massive suit of artificer armor worn by this Primarch during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. It was based on the Maximus pattern, and it incorporated a defense field generator, and it was graven with ancient Colchissian sigils of protection from Lorgar's own words of chaos. So anytime this guy would chant a spell or something like that, this armor would protect him from the ill effects of that spell, which was pretty cool, because in my opinion, this is one of the most simplistic armors out there for any Primarch, and I just like the look of it. It sucks that I don't really like Lorgar, but I like his armor. And lastly, we have one more weapon for this guy. The Archaeotech Pistol. The Archaeotech Pistol is an ancient sidearm dating back to the Dark Age of technology. This classification of pistol can be found firing a variety of projectiles. They can be micro-atomic munitions or searing kill rays that draw power from the planet's magnetosphere. Archaeotech pistols were often sidearms to high-ranking Imperial officials, and this weapon was used a lot, and I mean a lot, during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, but nowadays in the 41st millennium, the kind of intricacies and technology has been lost due to time, but there are a few out there. So now that we got this guy done, let's jump on over to everybody's favorite, Vulcan. So Vulcan is the Primarch of the Salamander Space Marine Legion, and he inherited something amazing from his father, that is the ability called being a perpetual. Now this means that he is immortal. He is able to regenerate from any wound, including decapitation and death. So essentially Vulcan is pretty sturdy. Now he didn't know this until during the Horus Heresy, but then he was being tortured by Conrad Kurz and whatnot, but it gets pretty devastating. But anyway, Vulcan is really well liked, at least to me and Gersh 1, and that's because he has empathy towards the average human. He doesn't see them as some low-level species. He can relate to them. And besides this, he is an amazing craftsman. He has created a bunch of weapons, a bunch of armor. He's just one tough mofo. Now diving into his weaponry, we start with the Furnace's Heart, which is a Baroque-styled energy weapon similar to a plasma pistol that was gifted to him by Ferrus Manus. This unique weapon utilized individually charged shells to produce powerful laser-like blasts capable of cutting swaths through even heavily armored foes. That's pretty badass. This weapon, however, was not truly favored by Vulcan, but he still carried it into battle regardless in order to honor his brother. Now we get to his awesome Warhammer Don Bringer. So this Warhammer was of prodigious size, and it was reputedly made of indestructible material. Don Bringer was too great a weight for any but a Primarch to lift. It was wielded by Vulcan and only Vulcan, and it was capable of sundering any defense set against it. In the Primarch's hands, it could also be used as a teleporter. So it used teleporter technology that enabled him to safely teleport over vast distances, even from one planet to another. And lastly, we have the Draken Scale. So the Draken Scale is Vulcan's armor, which was a marvel of the Imperium and a famed relic in its own right. It is the crowning glory of the Salamander Legion. On one shoulder pad you have the great fire drake Caesar's skull mounted upon it, and this was the whole symbolism, since that's where the image of the Legion symbol was based upon. So really awesome stuff, really awesome armors for both Lorgar and Vulcan. Now if you could mix these together, I'm pretty sure that just look badass. So let's move on to Corvus Corax. So Corvus Corax is the Primarch of the Raven Guard Space Marine Legion. He grew up to become a revolutionary for the workers of Lycaeus, and he became a master of guerrilla warfare and hit-and-run tactics. He remained true to the Emperor during the Horus Heresy, and as such, his legion took some of the heaviest losses ever, especially during the Drop Site Massacre. This guy, he had an awesome ability where he could essentially mask his presence. So he could literally walk up to you and you won't even see him, hear him, or feel him at all until it was too late. So that's pretty OP, pretty awesome. But this guy needs to seriously get up his ass and join the Imperium right now, because they could really use some like espionage ability like that. I'm pretty sure Guilliman would like having his brother back, so really awesome character here. So let's dive into his Wargear. So in battle, Corax favored a heavy bolter for long-range killing, which he hefted and aimed as easily as any ordinary man would be able to lift a battle rifle. He did also wield 2 Archaeotech pistols as additional firepower, dual wielding. For close quarters fighting, he carried a 3-headed power whip, which was specially crafted for him by the Adeptus Mechanicus, and he also had a pair of lightning claws known as the Raven's Talons. In the absence of these weapons, he was more than able to tear apart enemies with his bare hands. He also wore a jet black suit of power armor equipped with a jump pack known as the Sable Armor. The Sable Armor was also capable of masking his energy signature, and it could be also used to jam nearby enemy communications. But Corax's most potent ability was his Wraith Slip, which I mentioned earlier, aka the Shadow Slip or Shadow Walk. This allowed him to seemingly meld with the shadows around him, disappearing from view of his foes before striking unseen. Really awesome guy, like I said here. Very stealthy. He's got these epic wings, so really awesome. Just a little bit of trivia, I guess, is that Corax's last words were taken directly from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. So that was pretty cool. And finally we come to the last Primarch, or Primarchs should I say, Alfarius Omegon. Now this guy is basically just a mystery in and of itself. He is known as the Hydra, the Threefold Serpent, the Final Configuration, the Last Primarch, the Aleph Null. This guy is just like, he's the same size of regular Space Marines, so he can easily blend in with his ranks. He has a twin Primarch called Omegon. How that happened, why is this even allowed, we don't know. I'm not even sure if the Emperor knows. And also, it's like, even though he did join Chaos, Alfarius has been known to be a double agent. So is he really secretly fighting for the Emperor, for the Imperium within Chaos? The world may never know. This guy is awesome. He is pretty, how do I put this? He is shrouded in mystery, like I said before. Like his origins, there's like 6 or 7 different theories that it could consist of. He may not even have been, teleported to a different planet due to chaos. Maybe he was at the side of the Emperor this whole time. Again, guys, if you want to learn a little bit more on Alfarius and Omegon, we do have a 40 facts on that where I go over all the theories and all that, so please check it out. I will link the playlist to all of the Primarchs' 40 facts at the end of the video, so check that out. So let us begin their Wargear with the Pythian Scales. Although frequently recorded as entering battle in the semblance of a regular member of his legion, Alfarius, or perhaps the individual carrying that name, was also known to have led his legion to war, armored in sinister and baroque reptilian-style power armor, whose stature left no doubts in the mind of onlookers that a bloody-handed Primarch had entered the fray. This armor was faceless, and it was fashioned after the style of the shadowed mythic age of ancient Terra, which was known as the Pythian Scales, that could turn any blade aside, any energy blast, any chemical attack aside with equal ease. Next up, we have the Venom Spheres. So Venom Spheres were specialized assault grenades utilized by the Alpha Legion. They were deadly weapons that were upgraded to the more commonplace frag grenades employed by the Marines, and it contained toxins impregnated with crystalline splinters that have claimed many lives. The origins of these are believed to be of dark Xenos technology. And then we come to his signature weapon, the Starry Sanada. The Starry Sanada, or Pale Spear, was one of a number of strange and esoteric weapons associated with the Primarch of this legion. Again, it is rumored to be of strange Xenos artifact, whose forging predated even the rise of the Eldar. This double-bladed spear flickered seemingly out of phase with the material universe, and when wielded, it emitted an eerie and otherworldly howling. It was able to pierce any physical defense it encountered without impediment, and it ripped them apart at a molecular level. Against living matter, it inflicted hideously gaping, bloodless wounds as the flesh where it struck dissolved into oily smoke. Now, for ranged weaponry, he used a combi plasma blaster. So a plasma blaster is a relic of a bygone era of the Horus Heresy, and they are potent plasma weapons that were only wielded by specialist Terminator squads that could wear the armor that are able to deal with the excess heat that it bore off. They are almost identical in power to that of plasma talons, except they were of a more archaic double-barrel design. So basically, it is essentially an old-school plasma pistol with more oomph to it, so to speak. And lastly, Alfarius also used Camellia Line. Now, Camellia Line is a reflective chemical substance that morphically blends its coloration into the surrounding area. It is often woven into cloaks and smocks, or more rarely over a armor plating. Its properties aid with concealment during covert assaults. So it essentially is basically like a invisibility cloak, if you guys watch like Harry Potter and that kind of stuff. So again, guys, this is some crazy weaponry from one of the most mysterious Primarch or Primarchs around. Really awesome lore behind this guy, really awesome weapons. Definitely one of my favorite legions. And that's all we have, guys. This brings us to the end of the, I believe it was a 5-part series on the armory, weaponry, and wargear of the Primarchs. Now we went 1 through 18 because number 2 and number 11 are the Lost Legion Primarchs, which we have no clue what they are, what weapons they had, or what even transpired with them. All we know is that they existed, but now they are lost and forgotten due to the Edict of Obliteration that the Emperor of Mankind basically said, hey, nobody talks about them. If you do, you're gonna join them. So yeah, let me know, all in all, who is your favorite Primarch and what weapons are your favorite? If you guys could mix and match weapons, what would it be? Would you like Horus to have the Camellia Line? Because that'd be pretty nasty. Or like, exactly, like, what do you guys, if you guys were a Primarch, what weapons would you guys mix and match? What armor would you wear? Would you have like Corvus Corax's Power Whip with the freaking armor of Magnus the Red? Let me know. That would be a pretty cool design if you guys could mix and match. They should do a video game like that. That would be amazing. Create your own Primarch, 40k style. So yeah, guys, that's pretty awesome stuff there. Again, just let me know what you guys would do. What armor is your favorite? What would you wear yourselves? And we'll go from there. Don't forget, guys, we do have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram page, and a Patreon page. You guys can see all things 40k, plus a little extra stuff splattered in there. Patreon is only $1, so you guys can help support us there, and you guys can get awesome giveaways. We do giveaways about once a month or so stay subscribed for that. And that's pretty much all I've got. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, let me know what other topics you want us to cover, and we'll go from there. This has been The Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.